You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show is recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.
Hello and welcome to the Extension Hour on Lone Star Radio. I'm Mike McBride. I'm the program assistant with Texas AgriLife, or Texas A&M AgriLife here in Conroe. And I've got two co-workers today. Why don't y'all introduce yourselves?
My name is Michelle Scaife. I'm an extension assistant with Better Living for Texans.
And my name is Priscilla Chacon. I'm also an extension assistant.
Okay. I don't know if that came through or not.
It came through. You can speak a little closer into the mic.
Sorry about that.
About 3 inches.
Did they bring it?
There,
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
We want everyone to hear your dulcet tones wafting across the neighborhood.
Well, she's a newbie, right?
She's
This
new.
is
I
her first
am.
time on here.
It is. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
I'm no longer the new employee. We've had Priscilla for
They've
about
been
3 weeks.
looking at me, yes. Mhm.
Wonderful.
That's
She's been such a great asset. And the two ladies are with Better Living for Texas program. And that's really what AgriLife is all about, is trying to bring better living. AgriLife is an extension of Texas A&M, and Better Living for Texans is one of the programs within. And our goal is to help people find ways to improve their health, to eat better, to exercise more. Am I missing anything?
Well, and to encourage them to learn about where their food comes from. So we have some path to the plate, some garden to table education to get you back in touch with your food.
And so we're going to be doing a lot of discussion today. We're going to be talking about how the upcoming holidays really impact our lifestyles, our living, and what can we do to make it a better living for us during the holidays. But first, I want to mention a couple of programs coming up. This coming Tuesday, October 24th, we have a Dinner Tonight cooking show. Right now, we're planning on having 3 full menus, 3 full dinners. We'll demonstrate the meals to you, and then everyone gets a chance to taste the food and go home with the recipe book. That's $25, and if you're interested, you can go online to the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, and that is agrilifeextension.tamu.edu. Or just Google AgriLife Conroe, and it'll take you to us. The second thing coming up is we have an Open Gardens Day. If you've not been to the AgriLife office over on Airport, I think you'll be in for a real treat. That is Saturday, November 4th from 9 to 11. We'll have master gardeners on hand to answer questions that you might have. But it's nice to walk through the gardens and see what kind of fruits and vegetables grow here, how to decorate your yard, what plants do very well. So this is a great chance. And again, that's Saturday, November 4th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And the address is 9020 Airport Road here in Conroe, right across from Lone Star Center. So then, like I said, what we're going to be talking about today is the upcoming holidays. I know a lot of people are not ready to hear Christmas carols or anything else. Thank you for not playing those when we came in today. I appreciate it. But what I want to talk about is, why are they important? So let's start off with some traditions. And I'll lead off. I know that as a kiddo, we'd go to my grandparents' house, all the cousins, aunts and uncles, the whole herd of us were there. And I cannot tell you how much food was cooked. Christmas morning when all the presents are laid out. And my grandmother always had this game where she would tell us what we were getting without telling us. One of my nieces got a lod, L-L-O-D. And we're all trying to think, what the heck is a lod? It was all backwards.
Oh, that was good.
My brothers and I got bales of hay. And so we were trying to think, okay, what's a bale of hay? It looked like a giant marshmallow wrapped up in paper. They're sleeping bags. So that was just one of the rituals that we had in our family, and it made it really nice. once you begin to marry, you merge families, traditions change, rituals change. Or if you're like me, you move 4,500 miles away, so then it became my wife and my kids. Rituals change, but it's still possible to bring some of those in, and it's important. So we bring in foods that my wife ate, foods that I ate, decorate the tree in certain ways. Part of my family is German. German tradition has a pickle hanging on the tree somewhere. I have no idea what it means, but by golly, we're going to do it.
A pickle? Like a dill pickle?
It's a glass one. Yeah, but yeah, it looks like a dill pickle.
That's interesting.
I think
It's
we're going to have
different, I know.
to Google that.
We are. The meaning about that.
Okay, so what kind of traditions do y'all get raised with, or what do you do?
Want me to go? Well, we come from a very diverse family. So we're all from different parts of Latin America. So basically my mother's side, they're all Ecuadorian. And so they all married into different types or different countries in Latin America. So we have, for example, like Costa Rica, Colombia, Guatemala, Mexico, even Greek. We have a Greek in there. And so what we would do is we would go to my grandmother's home, and we would just all bring a different dish to the home, and we would have like an international night, especially Thanksgiving. We were really, really big on Thanksgiving. And it was just, we would just bond with each other with the food and the different desserts. And it was just a really, really exciting time. Now we don't do it much. I'm originally from up north, Chicago. Now moving all the way south, we hardly get to see our family back home too much. But we still keep the tradition here at home, and we do have the turkey. That's an obligatory
yeah.
item. But it's been nice. We do miss it, but I'm excited to start new traditions down here in Texas, and to try the different foods as well.
Very cool. How about you,
It's
Michelle?
about snow.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's really fun to be able to go outside and not freeze. Because over there, Christmas time was like below 30 degrees, and it's just
Yeah,
misery.
Last 25 years in a cold place also, and it's different being able to go out and barbecue by the pool, and I like it.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I grew up a prairie farm girl, so all of our Christmas revolved around farm things. There was always a hayride. There was lots of food, lots of neighboring community. So it was a very together, very traditional Christmas with lots and lots of people and lots of food and lots of activity. But having come to Texas and moved down here, I'm a bit farther from everyone else. And so my husband and I have different traditions, but most of them still revolve around food, revolve around the telling of the nativity story. And we have very natural farm-style decorations. So our home, we don't have a lot of store-bought things just because it's our habit. So our trees are decorated with things from nature, things from the farm,
Super cool.
things just that are part of our daily lives,
Yeah.
kind of to honor the whole year that we've had.
Wow.
Very cool. And rituals can be very reassuring. They can also be stressful. I know that, again, back with my family, we've been in Texas, 150, 200 years now, something like that.
Wow.
And so we'd get together and stuff sausage and canned foods, and then all that would show up on Thanksgiving. But it's also stressful because when you're trying to do all these things, trying to prepare a meal for 40, 50 people. Okay, I do a lot of cooking. Y'all do a lot of cooking. Mm-hmm. How enjoyable is that to make sure the turkey comes out on time, the casserole comes out on time, you got enough pies, you got
Everything
enough
ends
cakes?
up getting
Takes a
burned.
lot of planning.
Oh my gosh, really? But it's also important because these little rituals bind us together. They make a home a home. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of what AgriLife does is try to find out how do you make it home. And what we're going to be talking about today is how do you take these rituals, how do you take these stressful conditions and make it affordable, less stressful, nutritious, so you can make some better choices. So why don't we get into some of that? When you think of the holidays, how many of you get stressed, like sweaty palms, sweaty forehead?
Is there someone who doesn't?
Yeah.
It would be abnormal. Yes.
Yeah, it'd be abnormal.
Right.
What causes that stress? What are you thinking about that brings the stress about?
I think it's the pressure to either outdo last year or to do as well as maybe the other family member hosted it, or
Yeah.
to keep those things. It's a lot of pressure to.
Yeah, and
To do well.
It just disrupts your normal day-to-day activity. I feel like we're human beings. We're used to an order, and when that gets disrupted by, family members or, different activities that you have to do, adding on to the daily stress,
Yeah.
that we have, it's just
Because
kind
you
of-
know there's an office party for you
Yeah.
and your spouse, and there's all the kids' programs and all the kids' classroom parties that go on top of, not just the family gathering time.
One of the things I teach with AgriLife are finances, budgeting. And so when I think of the holidays, the first thing that comes to my mind are dollar signs.
That
'Cause-
too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I hate to tell everyone in the audience, Thanksgiving is going to happen again this year, just like last year, every fourth Thursday of November. Christmas always happens on the 25th. And every year I'm at the last moment going, how am I going to pay for all this junk? Oh my gosh. And so there's stress with that. So a lot of what we need to do is just plan ahead. So do you ladies ever sit down with family members to talk about what are we doing for the holidays, where, who's doing what, how's it going to happen?
I think I more talk at them. I'm the planner in the family, so I'm the one who wants to sit down and make a plan and have a plan and know when and what we're doing so we get it all done.
Right.
But yeah, the rest of them are not quite that minded about it.
No, with my family, we get everything done the week before.
Yeah.
So that's as much planning as we do. So I don't know if it's really productive. Clearly, it's not because we're super stressful. But that's just how we work. We work under pressure, I guess.
But see, my family makes a scene about trying to get together. And okay, by training, I'm a mental health therapist. And so there's a term I really, really love for this type of person. It's the imperative personality. One of the family members has this real strong, I want your opinion, and then this is how we're doing it. If you don't know what to do for life, I will tell you. And so this imperative personality makes a scene about calling, talking, and then arranging. She's a school librarian, so that's perfect. It works very well for her. Love her dearly. If the family ever hears this, I love you, okay? So there's other ways of handling stress proactively, and planning is one, but sitting down and listening to who you're with. I know it's traditions. If you sit down and say, okay, Michelle, tell me what's important to you. What's a bare minimum we have to do this every year? Priscilla, what's the bare minimum for our little work family to get along and survive? And then adjust. Scale down the holidays. Focus on what's important. Okay, so what? We don't get the Coca-Cola cherry Jello salad this year. Do we need it? It's a tradition in my family. It's actually pretty tasty.
Never heard of that.
I'll have to get you the recipe. It's so healthy. But those are things you have to think about. You know, will it still be a holiday without that Jello? Will it still be a holiday without that cake, without that certain pie? I was raised eating holiday meals on fine china, sterling silver, crystal, until my son started taking a silver spoon, banging the plate, bang, bang, bang. We decided china and disposables are just perfect.
And kept the stress away, too.
It reduced it a whole lot.
Less dishes to do, so.
Amen.
But I got an update for you on the German pickle. So the tradition began in Germany, but the thing behind it is that you hang the pickle in the tree. The parents hang the pickle in the tree. The kid that finds it gets a extra present at the end on Christmas Day.
They get the pickle.
They get the pickle. It's supposed to
A
be
jar
an
of
extra,
pickle.
an extra present, but yeah, sure, you get a pickle.
Well, thank you for doing that. I'm really not crazy. We really do these things. And
Wow.
Wow.
okay, well,
The Christmas pickle.
let's take a short break here. You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio. You can listen to us on the internet at irlonestar.com or on Conroe's FM 104.5 and FM 106.1. We'll be right back, so don't go away.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Hey guys, I'm Joey Savage.
Corey DLG.
We are Nerd Thug Radio. Catch us every Monday from 1 to 3 and check out our website, nerdthugradio.com.
We like to talk about quilting, horseback riding, and baking quiche.
Actually, we don't, but we do like talking nerdy to you.
That's right. Every Monday from 1 to 3 p.m., hashtag talking nerdy to you. A Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Hello and welcome back. This is Mike McBride with the Texas A&M AgriLife. I'm sitting here with Michelle and Priscilla, my two co-workers, and we're talking about holidays. We're talking a little bit about stress. And stress is such a part of our lives anymore. I don't know anyone who can sit back and honestly say, I live a stress-free life. Yeah, good luck with that one. I know that we all come to work because we like money. There's a stress that drives us to work each morning thinking, I got to have a paycheck. Okay, I'll go. If you get the right job, you're not working, you get to work. You get to have fun. This job is that for me, but I still get up in the morning because I think, I need a paycheck. We have good stress. Recently, a lady won a Powerball lottery, like $700 million, something like that, some huge, wild amount. I can guarantee that once the joy wore off, she was stressed. Mm-hmm. What I do with the money, how to protect my privacy, why are all these people I've never met in my life now calling and reaching out trying to touch me for some money? So getting money is good. Getting married is good. It is also very stressful. So you handle that in certain ways and you take care of it. But what stress does to our bodies, it releases different chemicals that stimulate. You guys have heard the fight or flight. Mm-hmm. Because depending on your point of view on life, creation. There were cavemen a gazillion years ago who would see the saber-toothed tiger chase them, so their choice is either to fight the silly beast or to run away. But the difference that they have in their society versus ours is they would go back to the cave at night, have a little fire, they're sitting there with their loved ones, they're munching on the bones of whatever animal they killed that day and ate it, whatever plants they harvested and ate. But it's time to relax. So what do we do with our days? We work hard. We have deadlines. The computers are supposed to make our life so much easier, have made them so much busier. We go home. Our kids are like, okay, I got to go to football, got to go to baseball. Mama, daddy. Oh my gosh, they got their hands out for money, right? And then what kind of movies and TV do we watch? Is it something like the All-Flower, All-Day channel? Yeah, no, yeah. I live in my own little world. No, usually we're looking at something exciting and thrilling. Some people even get into the slasher movies. You can't tell me you're calm and relaxed with a lot of stuff going. So our bodies never get a chance to relax. So what we do with our bodies during this holiday time, since we know stress is coming, will help us relax. Priscilla and I are talking about going out for a coffee after work and drag Michelle along if she wants a coffee. That's adding caffeine. That keeps us jazzed up. It keeps us going. So what other things can we do nutrition-wise to help keep us calm? What do y'all think?
Well, the first thing is to kind of tone down that caffeine a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Take away my coffee.
Not taking it away. All things in moderation. But oftentimes we do tend to overstimulate ourselves, either visually with the media, with our phones, with everything in front of us, with color, or with, foods. Sugar and caffeine are very stimulating. They do kind of keep our energy revved up. So taking that time to step back from that a little bit, maybe have something caffeine-free, low caffeine, drink your water, shut down the media, go outside, get some fresh air, some nature, some sunshine, some natural color, and kind of relieve yourself a little bit of all of that stimulation, which is, aggravating the stress problems.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was talking to Mike a little bit yesterday, and we were kind of talking about food and how comforting it is, especially when you're stressed out, and how we always go towards the cookies, or in my personal craving, it would be dark chocolate, which is healthy for you, but and everything excess is going to be harmful for your body, and so it's really just taking the time to And what it is, and what I was like searching on the extension site, so it's mindful eating, and really taking the time when we're eating something to not just overeat just to take the stress away, because we do know that high saturated fat food or highly processed foods, those are the type of foods that we tend to reach out to just because they stimulate those neurotransmitters in our brain, right? And so it's that feel good neurotransmitter. And so I guess it's really important just to be aware of what you're eating and everything in moderation. You know, if you're going to take that chocolate or that food, you know, just really just think about what you're eating. It sounds kind of weird, but just meditate on your food. And most likely you will get fuller much faster when you're actually paying attention to what you're eating instead of just, you know, just scarfing down your emotions.
Yeah, I was thinking about my home when we sit down for dinner. There's almost always a TV on. There's 3 of us who live together. There's 3 cell phones on the table. And mindful eating doesn't play with any of that. You need to be aware of the present. So, no, I would not pick up a spoonful of coleslaw and look and think, oh my gosh, beautiful colors. Oh, the smell. Thank you for those people who, that's mindful eating to the extreme.
Right.
But I do turn off all the electronics and sit down and talk with the other guys and find out how their day go. And take one bite, put the fork down, and listen.
When our kids were home, it was more of, this is not just about food. This is about each other. This is your time to talk. It's your time to, ask the questions you need to ask, be available for them if they need to let something out or vent or have that opportunity for conversation. But we don't do enough of that. And I know now, as a empty nest, and being more at home alone and eating my meals alone, it is real easy to just sit in front of the TV or turn the radio on. Right. But to take the time to turn that stuff off and just sit down and actually focus on the fact that I'm relaxing and eating and taking time away, it allows you to kind of process your thoughts for the day and maybe let go of some of them things or think about how you could have handled it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm real guilty. I'm as guilty as anyone else. A lot of times I'll just put my plate on the island and I will go do a task, come back, take a couple bites, go do another task, or I just sit down and wolf the food so I can go do whatever, mow the yard, whatever I need. So for the holidays, this is time to really enjoy the family. So if you're not stressed about cooking that turkey or doing all the other things, you can sit down and enjoy your loved ones. I think you would eat less, you're more present. If you're not running around like a chicken with its head cut off, you can sit down and actually make eye contact with your family member and reconnect. A lot of us haven't seen them very often, so it's a wonderful time.
What about like the usage rate of cell phones and how much that comes into play? That's got to be a big stress reliever, or not reliever, stress, distractor. But it might actually cause more stress because you're constantly getting updates that you need to do this, you need to do that. Yeah. So how does that play within, the body's ability or lack thereof to release stress?
If you're like me, when I get that little chime, I feel like I have to answer it right now.
Yeah.
Or when somebody's calling, I have to answer it right now. So that increases my stress.
Yeah, I'll turn those notifications off.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Preach it.
Well, when we were growing up, we had a household rule that, when we sat down for dinner, that phone had to go away. You weren't allowed to have it at the table. If we were playing card games or whatever, you're not allowed to use it. So I know that was I guess a rule put into place so we weren't constantly on those things.
Exactly.
And I think it's a huge idea. Yeah. Yeah, because first off, if that phone is chirping and you're trying to answer the text, you're not listening to the person around you, you're not paying attention to what you're eating or what you're doing. Get rid of the silly things. And if it's a phone call, I bet we all have voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
Let the machine get it.
Amen.
Let the machine get it.
Yes. Okay, so what else what I was thinking, like with the diets and all with the holidays to reduce stress, there's ways of addressing it beforehand, planning ahead. We talked a little bit about getting with the family and talking about what rituals are important, which ones aren't. How about menus?
Delegate those things.
Bingo.
Call around. I mean, I have adult children now. And so I'm like, who's doing what? What's your favorite dish? Then you cook it.
Mm-hmm.
You bring it. You contribute and make that part of your memory as well. Mm-hmm. Because someday those kids are going to have to carry on that tradition too. Or if it's a larger family gathering, there's plenty of adults in the family. Y'all bring something too. delegate out to everyone else.
Yeah. Make it a potluck.
Exactly.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Because everybody's memories, everybody's favorite food or favorite food memory or whatever, it's going to be different.
Right.
So I think giving everyone else a little bit of ownership in it helps a lot.
Yeah, and you were talking earlier, Priscilla, about your family being so international. To me, that'd be a kick in the pants to have all these different dishes from different parts of the world or different parts of Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of our traditions was all my grandmother, aunts, my mom, the cousins would all get together and make tamales.
So good.
And those were for Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Love tamales. I'm too cheap. I'll go out and buy them now. That's way too much work.
They are.
That removes some of my stress.
Right.
And I feel good too because I'm helping somebody else pay for their holiday. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yes. That's a good way to look at it, actually.
It is.
Okay, so planning ahead, changing menu, potluck. What else? What other ideas do you think we could do?
I like to call them into one of our family's traditions from way back to grandparent time was homemade candy or homemade pie.
Oh.
We only do it Christmas, Thanksgiving time. I mean, that's it. It's a once a year thing. So call the kids, call the aunts and uncles, whatever. Teach them how. It's a lost art making hard candy and fudge and things that aren't quick, that take time to stand there and stir. But if you call in, the cousins and the kids and let them pull taffy and let them do things, you're passing on a tradition. You're making something new about the celebration. And it's a memory that they can share then when you're all sitting down together as a family.
Yeah.
So bring everybody with you.
Okay.
Call them in.
Well, in our next section, we're going to be talking almost exclusively about food because we can add stress. January 1, we get on that scale and think, oh my gosh, what have I done to myself? So we're going to be talking about ways of making the healthier choices. So come right back. We're on Lone Star Community Radio. Internet is irlonestar.com. FM dial is 104.5 and 106.1. We'll be right back.
Don't miss Lone Star Community Radio on TV and YouTube. Our talk show and music shows are featured on Our City TV, Suddenlink Channel 12, and have their own YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with posted shows and comment on them below the video.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
A Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Attention movie lovers, The Ticket Stub is a new radio show servicing Montgomery County that is meant for you. The Ticket Stub is available live every Thursday at noon on FM 104.5 and 106.1, as well as anytime on irlonestar.com. Connor and Dick will let you know what's coming out in the theater, what is worth streaming, and what's going on in the world of film. The Ticket Stub, your home for movie talk.
Don't miss Lone Star Community Radio on TV and YouTube. Our talk show and music shows are featured on Our City TV, Suddenlink Channel 12, and have their own YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with posted shows and comment on them below the video.
Hello and welcome back to the Extension Hour. I'm Mike McBride. I'm here with Michelle Scaife and Priscilla Chacon. We're on Lone Star Radio, Community Radio at FM 104.5 and 106.1, or on the internet, irlonestar.com. So we've been talking about the upcoming holidays. we picture them on postcards with joy and happiness and togetherness, and everything's just perfect. Often it doesn't play out that way. So what we're trying to do is make some better choices. And right before we left, we began to talk about food. So why don't we go there? What are some of the traditional meals that you can think of coming up, some of the traditional dishes?
Turkey and dressing, pie,
Pecan pie.
rolls,
Okay.
butter. Everything slathered in butter.
Yeah.
Lots of carbs.
Lots of carbs.
Amen. And then
Lots
you
of
crash
sugar.
right after that. Eat.
Candies and goodies.
Yeah, so that's why you use the paper plates we were talking about before. So when you eat all those carbs, you can just throw things away, hit the couch, and go to sleep. You're done.
Exactly. Best invention ever.
Food coma.
Okay, so one of the things that was mentioned was turkey. I'll turn to our more nutrition type oriented people. You had an epiphany. What's going?
No, I remember. Have you ever had deep fried turkey?
I have.
Shame on you.
I know, but it was so good, though. I am so embarrassed to actually admit that I liked it, but it was pretty good.
It adds a little bit of fat to the turkey.
Just a little bit.
Adds a lot of flavor. We'll be honest. Yeah, the three of us are really focused on nutrition, but we do have our favorites also. I bake bread, I make chocolates, and I look like one. So with the turkey, it is a very healthy food. You have a degree in nutrition. What do you think about the
Yeah,
bird?
no, it has, well, first of all, a lot of protein. It's really, really, and it all just depends on how you cook it. And you can never, obviously, we put it in the oven. That would be the best choice, the more nutritious choice. You want to not deep fry your bird. But it just all, really the key to get a very savory turkey would be just the night before, marinated in any type of sauce or seasonings that you can have to really, really accentuates the taste and brings out all those flavors. And it just makes it so much better and so much juicier, too. 'Cause that's the thing. How do you get your turkey to come out juicy and cooked well at the same
You
time?
really do have to marinate it, and lots of basting. I mean, you got to babysit that bird. You really do.
You do.
And
So
I'm
whatever
lazy,
it
I use
is.
the bag.
You can use the bag, and that's a great way to keep flavor in. I'm all about herbs. I love to use herbs for flavoring. So lots of it's a mild flavored meat, so it lends well to things like rosemary and thyme and
Yes.
oregano and sage. You can put some very strong herbs with your turkey, and that's going to give it just an even better flavor.
Yeah.
So
And what we
marinating,
do-
like you said, or stuffing the cavity with all those good herbs to get that, permeated through all of the meat while it's cooking.
Yeah, and if you watch some of the cuisine, I'm trying to avoid any network names, the cuisine, the what are we going to eat, how do we cook it type programs on TV, you're going to find all sorts of episodes right now about how to brine your turkey. And it does add a lot of flavor.
It does.
Adds a lot of salt.
It does.
So I think Michelle hit the nail on the head. If you want to get rid of the salt, because that's where a lot of our flavor comes from, use herbs instead.
You can, and instead of a highly salty brine, there are acidic brines. So the apple cider vinegars, the citrus fruits, they give you a little bit of that breakdown of the meat tissue that's going to make it tender without adding all the salt to it.
And see, we'll be talking at the office later because I had not heard of those types of marinades. So I'm curious now.
Give us a call. We can hook you up.
So is there a way to, because people say with Thanksgiving, they're like, oh, well, it's one time a year. I just go all out. Is
it?
That's my question.
Because
So
we have the holiday party, the office party, the kids party, Christmas with this grandma, Christmas with that grandma, Christmas, holidays with my friends. So, is it?
It is one time a year that lasts about 4 or 5 weeks.
Exactly. Good way to say it.
Yeah.
So it's like, is portion control? Is that the biggest thing when it comes down to those things? Because if you've got 6 or 7 that you're going to, is it maybe at this party I have mashed potatoes and this one I have sweet
kind of,
potatoes?
what is your goal? It can be. To me, I look at my plate or my offerings and say, what do I really want? Portion control is a great way to do it, but also choosing, what do I really want to eat?
Right.
Can I
And
live without grandma's?
The thing is, there's a very, very fine line between feeling satisfied and feeling full. And that's when I really think that not taking mindful eating to the extreme, but really, really being in touch with how you're eating. Am I going to overeat if I go for the seconds?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants seconds because it tastes so good. but you really have to kind of, measure out, well, if I eat that second plate, am I going to feel overly stuffed? And then you're like, oh, and then you fall into that food coma, right? But it's really just like choosing your foods, portion control, because I'm all about all foods fit. All foods have a nutritional value. You really do have to portion out your sizes and take a little bit and then wait 20 minutes. And if you're still hungry, go ahead, get a little bit more. But really, really, it's important just to portion control.
Yeah, when we sit down for Thanksgiving dinner, at least at my house, I told you we already got rid of the plates, went for the Chinette platters. I mean, they're big, and you have to fill that puppy. If you look at My Plate, which is the government recommended eating pattern now, the recommendations are based on a 9-inch plate. You go to some of the local stores, it's really hard to find a 9-inch plate now. They're all 11 inches, 14 inches, and you're not happy until that plate's full. So you're automatically increasing your portion size by a third, quarter, more calories. So smaller plate. I love Michelle's idea. You look over this huge table full of food and choose the 2 or 3 that will most satisfy you. Eat it slowly, enjoy your company, so you got the mindfulness aspect. Stop when you're satisfied, and if you're still hungry in 20 minutes, come on back. That food's still going to be there, I promise you. Choices are important. Yeah, Thanksgiving is once a year, and we always have a pumpkin pie and a pecan pie. A slice of pecan pie is almost 500 calories.
It's crazy.
And you got to have ice cream with it, right?
Oh,
a scoop of Bluebell.
Hey, it's once a year.
That's right. Got to have a scoop of Bluebell with it.
Yeah, there's an old record album out called Twin Sons of Different Mothers. I think that's us. Yeah, you got to have that ice cream with it. The other choice is usually a pumpkin pie, and that's around 280 calories.
Wow.
And we're not talking fat or anything else because that's silly. Who needs to talk about fat, right? We all do. 280 calories for a dessert is still a lot of calories.
But that's a big reduction compared to that other pecan pie.
Yeah, it's like half. And I don't know about y'all, but I usually have one of each.
Well, and do you have it as an emotional attachment to one of them? Sometimes we deprive ourselves, because we are watching our goals or our fitness goals, but sometimes there's a really special something related to it.
Yeah.
Is this pie the one that great grandma made? And
Yeah.
she's not with us now. So sitting down as a family and honoring someone that you miss and love, or a tradition that was started years ago, have a small piece, have half a piece, share a piece with your child or your spouse. There are ways to kind of enjoy the moment and yet not overdo it. Split it with someone else. Get 2 forks.
Yeah, see, one of our traditions is a candy called Martha Washington chocolate bonbons. It's nothing but sweetened coconut, pecans, Eagle brand milk, and I miss powdered sugar. Roll it up and butter. You have to have butter. Roll it up into balls and dip it in chocolate. When I put that into the computer to get the nutrition value, it makes 144 of those. I thought, 4 or 5 is a serving. Oh, no.
Is that your calories for today?
Yeah, 2 of them are like 175 calories.
Wow.
So is that health food? No. Is it mental health? Absolutely, because you're honoring that. My grandmother used to make it. My mom used to make it. So it's bringing the family stuff, and I want my kids to enjoy it.
But when we make candies, we divide them up into bags, and everybody takes a bag home.
Oh, that's an idea.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Mine go in the refrigerator.
No. As we're making them, they're bagged up, and we make sure that each family member has a sampling of the candies that we made, and that way it's not sitting in our house waiting on
All
us
those
to eat it.
leftovers.
Yes.
Okay.
My
Send
grandmother
them
does the
home.
same thing. She bakes the cookies, the peanut brittle, the fudge, the everything, and then everybody gets their own little sack to take with them. So, and she doesn't eat a single piece of any of it.
Yeah.
She knows better, that's why.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I think we're getting close to the next break. So when we come back, let's talk about some of the specific recipes, food items, and how they can be made more healthy and still enjoy the holidays and reduce the stress before and after the holidays. So you're listening to Lone Star Community Radio, Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1, and on the internet worldwide at irlonestar.com. So we'll talk to you in a few minutes. Thanks.
A Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Attention movie lovers, The Ticket Stub is a new radio show servicing Montgomery County that is meant for you. The Ticket Stub is available live every Thursday at noon on FM 104.5 and 106.1, as well as anytime on irlonestar.com. Connor and Dick will let you know what's coming out in the theater, what is worth streaming, and what's going on in the world of film. The Ticket Stub, your home for movie talk.
Don't miss Lone Star Community Radio on TV and YouTube. Our talk show and music shows are featured on Our City TV, Suddenlink Channel 12, and have their own YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with posted shows and comment on them below the video.
Hi, and welcome back to our last section. This is Mike McBride, Michelle Scave, and Priscilla Chacon. We're with Texas A&M AgriLife here in Conroe. And what we're talking about is the holidays. We've talked a little bit about stress management, 100 different ways it's going to come and get you. Michelle talked about taking breaks, go outside, get some fresh air, just moving, good sleep. Any of that stuff will help you manage the stress during the holidays, because I promise you folks, just like the holidays, the stress is coming. And so what we want to talk about now, though, are like the menu items, because during Christmas, Thanksgiving, some folks, like Dia de la Muerta is coming up. And there's traditional things that you're going to eat. Mm-hmm. You're going to make it. So how do we make them healthy choices? So we start off with turkey. Michelle was talking about brining it, cooking with herbs. Priscilla asked how to keep it moist, and that's with a lot of basting. I use a bag at home. It's easier to clean up. I'm lazy. So what other dishes? We hit the pies a little bit.
Well, those lovely mashed potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing we can do to mash our potatoes, a lot of times they have cream and butter and
Amen, sister.
and lots of salt and fatty things added to them. We can use broth or cooking liquid when we're mashing those potatoes to get that creamy texture, but not have the added extra calorie. Let the butter be something that's added at the table by the person who's serving themselves, and that way we've reduced the additional butter issue. And again, you can put herbs in them. Potatoes are a fairly neutral food. You can add a lot of rosemary. You can add thyme. Flavor them up a little bit, but cut the calories back. So I know potatoes are a big one where calories sometimes hide.
Garlic is my favorite.
Oh, and it's great with a potato, isn't it? And garlic and rosemary together are even better. So, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What about like salads? I mean, my family always had two. I mentioned the cherry Jello salad. That was a salad.
That's not a salad.
That's a dessert. But it was served with the main course.
They are.
So is that something that we should eat on a regular basis? Probably not. How do you make a better choice? Coleslaw, tossed salad, something like that would be better. What other dishes do we have that?
What do we have? What other dishes do we have?
Well, there's always the green bean casserole.
Corn pudding type stuff.
Corn pudding.
Broccoli and cheese.
Yeah.
Broccoli and cheese.
So actually, some of these are not too bad. The broccoli and cheese is not too bad.
The cheese is probably not the healthiest, but
It's not, but it does have good nutrients that we do need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
maybe do instead of doing broccoli and cheese, maybe you just do broccoli.
And you can have cheese in a bowl, and they can sprinkle it on if they want.
If they want.
Absolutely. I love steamed broccoli, though, just by itself. But the cheese is how we got our kids to eat it. We call them trees and cheese, and the kids would eat it. And if we called it broccoli, they wouldn't touch it.
Exactly.
But on the holidays, I was thinking we have, in my own family, we would have a bowl of ambrosia, that beautiful fruit salad with nuts and whipped cream all through it. Do you need the whipped cream to make a nice fruit salad?
Well, you also do have low fat, low calorie, or sugar substituted options.
This
So
is
depending
true.
on, again, your nutrition goals. What is it that you're needing to cut out or that you feel would make it more accessible for you? There's always low fat or sugar substituted options.
Or just the portion, the amount of that you're actually putting
Yeah.
on there. If you just need that actual, sometimes it does taste better, the original.
It does.
The full, just put a little.
You don't use
spray
as
or-
much.
Yeah, exactly. You just cut the portion there. You're automatically cutting your calories at that point.
Yeah, see, and cottage cheese is a healthy food, right? It can be.
Can be.
So I'm thinking about those Jello salad, where you take cottage cheese and you mix in a package of Jello with it. So now you got something green, something orange, whatever. There's a lot of sugar in that.
There
I don't
is.
even know what else goes in those.
Well,
I
we
was gonna
actually
call them
have some in
dessert.
our mobile cooking school recipes when we go out and teach mobile cooking school.
Okay.
There is a yummy Jello salad, and it's made with cottage cheese. It does have the low-calorie Cool Whip topping type stirred into it, and we use sugar-free Jello,
Okay.
and
Like
then
the
add some
packets?
fruit.
The packet? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're taking something that could be relatively fattening and making it a healthier choice just by changing the whole whipped cream to whipped topping type stuff.
And you know
And-
what's the really good thing about now and with social media? It's like there's such a big movement with nutrition and how to make things healthier. Just go on Google and you could just find easy swaps that you could incorporate.
Yeah, see, and I've got a stack of papers here in front of me. I did that getting ready for the program here. I'm diabetic. So I wanted to find out, okay, if I'm going to make my meals healthier, can I find some diabetic recipes? Mayo Clinic had a ton of them. Baylor University, yes, we're with A&M. We should mention the other guys, but they also get into some good research and then offer that to the community on the internet. So you also have to be careful because there's quackery.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what's your source? If it has .org, .edu as the extension,
.gov.
.gov, those are a lot better.
My plate.
My Plate's a wonderful place. They had some good recipes also.
Yeah.
Eat Smart Spend Smart is it's an Iowa extension. It's also an app. So Eat Smart Spend Smart. They have a blog on there, and they've had a lot of great fall recipes that are lower in calories. An apple pumpkin pie,
Ooh.
an apple pumpkin cake, some pumpkin cookies. So, some options that are a little lower in calorie, a little lower in sugar, and they're substituting things like applesauce for the butter or oil.
Right.
So that
Keeps
gives
it
us
moist.
keeps it moist, and it cuts back again the fat and the calories. in them.
And I want you to listen to Michelle's words. She did not call them low fat, low calorie. They are lower.
Lower,
So they're healthier choices, but they're not health food.
right?
But for the holidays, for these traditions, you need to enjoy the time. And we keep talking about making new memories, creating new traditions. This is a way to do it. Leave salt out, reduce the amount of salt, and a lot of people can't even tell while you're cooking it.
Exactly.
And getting the little kiddos involved as well, I think is really important during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Not only you're spending time with them, but you're also educating them as well. They really get to learn these habits when they're younger. So this is the perfect time to be able to, find different ways to. I know traditional food is you want to keep the same flavor, but it's really, really fun to try to keep the same flavor and see if you could substitute
Yeah.
for something else.
Yeah, one of the things I recommend, we were talking about traditions, we're talking about food and flavor and reducing stress. Make it a family event. Instead of making 4 different types of pies or cake, make one. Instead of having a dozen different salads, make 1 or 2. We had Thanksgiving. We always had turkey, ham, roast beef, and chicken and dumplings. Do we need 4 main dishes? Not really. But bring the kids in. Let them help out too. Like I already.
They'll love it.
Oh yeah, they
I know
do.
my little sister. I have she's 11, and she just loves to bake. But she likes to bake. She gets all her recipes, and I see the amount of butter she puts in those cookies. I'm like, I don't want to eat it. But it's really, during this holiday break that I have, now I'm going to start getting her recipes and see how we could cut the calories. Adding the applesauce instead of putting all that butter. And showing her how we could still eat these foods, but we could reduce the amount of fat or the amount of sugar that we're
Right.
putting into these foods, into the ingredients, yeah.
I lived about 4 hours outside of Anchorage, way out in the boonies. Bread was expensive, so that's when I started baking bread. And I would have my kids, my daughter with her little high chair that attached to the side of the table, and they would all get their little lump of dough and start kneading their dough as Daddy's doing his. They made their own loaves as I made the family bread. Well, what a wonderful time. And the best part is there's no electronics.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is family time. So when you're preparing your meals, begin to think, and you can even include the kids in the planning, what's important to them? What's the one thing that is an essential to have a happy Christmas? Presents? No.
The new iPhone.
Amen. Yeah. Friends don't live. No, I was going to be nice.
We've mentioned children a lot bringing in, but let's not forget our senior family members.
Yeah.
I remember being at home and having great grandma who didn't have the best eyesight, was losing abilities, but she still sat in the corner of the kitchen and snapped the green beans or put something together. I mean, they still have their place in our lives, and we can still glean so much. And we do need to teach our children to value them and their experiences and their place. So remembering to bring our senior family members in, include them in the process and in the prep when we can. And that relieves a lot of stress for them as well, because holidays can be very difficult for our older family members.
A lot of the grandparents anymore will sit back at the holidays and think about all the people who are not there anymore.
Exactly.
And I'm a senior now. I know a lot of people.
What?
Yeah, surprise, surprise. The white hair is not natural. But people are trying to be nice, and so they just say, well, let me handle this for you. And no, I want to be part of it too. Granny and Grandpa want to be part of it. So include the entire family in these things.
Exactly.
So, okay. Well, you're listening to Lone Star Radio, community radio. Keep dropping that word out. We're on FM 104.5, 106.1, or internet at irlonestar.com. And if you have any questions about today's program, give us a call at the AgriLife extension at 936-539-7825. We'd love to talk with you.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show was recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas, at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.